What's up everyone, Arctic here, bringing you guys my overview of Gears of War Judgment. I'm back from PAX Prime out in Seattle, Washington. Now if you guys don't know, I actually am the community manager for Edge of Reality and Loadout, so that's the reason I was out there. And I had a lot of you guys asking me to get some information on Judgment, so I wanted to make a video kind of discussing the changes. I backed up a lot of this with Epic, so this is really factual based. Obviously I have my own opinions about a lot of this stuff and some speculation on what we're going to see in the final version of the game, or maybe they'll release some stuff that'll kind of confirm my speculations here within the coming months. So let's just start off with the things that I think people are going to be kind of upset about, what's kind of jarring, what's different, and then we'll work to the things that I think are really good, and then I'm going to end on speculation. That's how I'm going to do this. I don't know what gameplay I have up. This is more of an audio commentary where I'm just talking. Hopefully you guys are listening, because there's going to be a lot of important information in this that you guys can kind of sit and think about, dwell on for the next couple months. So, first jarring change, control scheme. It's not different in the sense that like you're just playing with a whole new Gears of War and like the buttons are crazy, you don't know what's going on. It's different in that how they've distributed and assign weapon switching. So there's no longer use for the D-pad. I think it brings up like the HUD, that little I can't even think of what it's called. Anyway, it brings that up when you hit like up or down on the D-pad, something like that, and that's all it does. To my knowledge, I didn't press the D-pad a whole lot because I was told not to. And Y is to switch weapons. So if you want to switch between your primary and secondary weapon, you can do that. The left bumper, I believe, is how you chuck grenades, and there's actually an overhead toss animation for that. And if you hold it, you get the underhand with the aiming line, that kind of arcing line that goes up in the air, so you can kind of aim down for fine-tuned grenade tosses. The rest of the buttons pretty much feel the same to me. Your melee's melee. I mean, I couldn't really think of anything that was like vastly different besides those two things. I kept wanting to switch my weapons. I played on alternate control scheme, and I also played on default using the Microsoft controller. So again, I won every single game that I played except for one in free for all, and in that one game I got second place. And I mean that's one of the things that I think will kind of throw people off. It's not a major change that'll have people upset, but it's really noticeable, especially when you're trying to switch your weapons. Now the other thing that I think is probably going to upset a lot of people is that down but not out seems like it's removed from free for all. I don't know if it's, obviously it makes sense with free for all, but I don't know if it's removed game wide. So there could be execution, there could be Warzone, which could have those options, but I think that down but not out is going to be removed for a lot of the deathmatch oriented game types like team deathmatch. I think it'll be gone. Warzone could possibly be gone, but TDM I think it's going to be gone. King of the Hill I think it's going to be gone. Obviously free for all, deathmatch, and maybe there's some more game types that I'm not missing. I don't know if down but not out is removed in Overrun. I'm not 100% sure. It seems like it could be. But yeah, that was definitely an interesting change. And the first time you get killed, second time you get killed, probably the whole first time you get killed, like the first game you play free for all, you're gonna be like, man, this is not Gears. This feels weird, because your body just like flies in the air. It's like you're a locust and you're playing single player campaign. So it's it's really odd to me to have that happen, and I think that's gonna throw a lot of people off, and they're gonna be kind of upset about that. To me it's kind of minor, but it could be major for some people, but that's obviously a big time change. I'm going to talk a little bit more about some speculation on that here in a bit. But crosshair is visible during hipfire. That's there. Now the reason it's there, I think that's obviously some of the competitive community and some of the hardcore guys don't like it because they feel like it's casualizing the game, making the game more accessible for people that are newer, and they're dumbing down the game. And I was told that it was not for that reason. I was told it was for consistency reason that it was added, and the whole like adding it down for mass appeal was not even in the thought process until people started saying that. So the reason that it was added for consistency, and this is something that I always talk about, is a lot of people complain about, especially when they're hipfire shotgunning, is they think they hit someone and they don't. And again, what I was told was that the reason that was put on there is for people that hipfire their Nasher or hipfire their Lancer or hipfire whatever weapon, you get to see where that reticule is, so you know if you hit someone or not. Versus, you know, you're blind firing with nothing on screen, and then you think you hit someone and you probably didn't hit them. And you know, you get on the forums or you get on Twitter and you're like, oh, fuck Gears of War and this sponging BS and all that stuff. So, you know, I've seen people, you know, say that. A lot of stuff sometimes is, you know, connection based. So if you have a crappy connection, it's not going to matter anyway. But yeah, I mean, that's why it was added. So I hope that kind of is, you know, better explanation for you guys. But to be honest, I played with the Nasher. The only time I noticed it is when I had the breach shot, and the breach shot has a different cursor than, you know, than what I'm used to seeing with like the Lancer or the Sniper or some of the other weapons, pistol, etc. So I noticed that one on screen when I was like running around because I wasn't used to seeing it. The rest of them, honestly, they were like invisible. So, you know, when people talk about that, they're probably not even going to notice it. And when I asked people in line that I kind of knew or that were talking about it, you know, no one really noticed it. So, like, you might see it on screen, you might see it on video, but when you're playing, you don't notice. And if you're missing, that's something you can kind of cross-reference. Is my crosshair actually on the person when I'm shooting? So that's some stuff to think about. The last major change, which I think this one is probably going to be the one that really gets people's panties like in a bunch, is that there's like a whole lot of freedom of movement. And the way it was explained to me sounds awesome, but I know how people are. And you can now fall off of ledges to like different height levels. So a lot of the maps that I played had this vertical aspect to it, and you could like fall down on like the floor below you. You do take fall damage, which is good, but it's, I don't know, it didn't feel like it fit Gears of War. And it's probably because I haven't played enough, but I will say it like added this new dynamic where it was like, okay, I have no boundaries, I can do whatever I want. Definitely works a lot really well in free-for-all. You know, if someone's shooting in your back, you feel like you're cornered, you like mantle on something, you see like there's some ground beneath you, you can hop over that, and then they have to follow you in order to do that. So that's really cool. I like that aspect of it, but I know like that's gonna really turn some people off. The last two things that I think are really major, or well, these could be grouped as one, is that the sawed-off and the retro are in the game. I was told that both are vastly different. They're not copy-paste from, well, I didn't say, let me not say vastly different. I was told that they're different. They're not copy and paste weapons from that have all the same mechanics from Gears of War 3 to Gears of War Judgment. I told that they're different. So, and also with that, none of the weapons are the same. I don't know if there's like minor tweaks and changes to all of them, including the Nasher. So all of these are like slightly different from previous Gears of War games. So that's kind of interesting. A little disappointing that those two weapons are in there. But, you know, I played enough Gears of War 3 where it's like, I don't really care at this point. Like, you know, the sawed-off isn't fantastic. The Retro Lancer can be annoying. But, you know, the most offensive gun, which I'm about to get on, is the Hammer Burst. Now, the Hammer Burst is back. You know, a lot of people talked about this. You hit 3 shots and on the 4th shot it kicks. I didn't see that. That's not the build that I saw. It doesn't do that. So quick fanning was, you know, if you fan your trigger really quickly, that was still way too easy to me. And, you know, Quinn likes to joke with me and say that, you know, it's just because I've been playing the game so long that it's a lot easier for me to do that. But, I mean, I was hipfire, hammer bursting people that were running up on me with shotguns that were good at the game, that knew what they were doing. And I was getting kills on them. So it's like, you know, I'm not really a fan of the hammer burst specifically because it's a burst. It says burst in it, and it doesn't 3-fire burst. It doesn't 2-fire burst. It's semi-auto, and it goes as fast as you can shoot the trigger, which I think is broken. That's I've had that same opinion since Gears of War 2. It's not going to change. So that's one of the things that I think, you know, some of the hammer burst guys that were worried about it being nerfed, I guess, so to speak, they're probably rejoicing right now. I was told that the kick is actually harder or more prominent than Gears of War 2 and Gears of War 3. I couldn't tell. So, and I didn't even tweak my you know, my shooting settings, my sensitivity settings to what I actually play on, and I was playing with a different controller. I still feel like it was, you know, way too easy. So there's a lot of factors that go into that. I'm not particularly a fan of the current hammer burst in Gears of War Judgment. So that's one of the things that I personally find in the negative slot. Everything else, again, everything else I've said is basically pretty much like I think people will perceive that as being negative. I don't particularly care for it. It doesn't bother me at all. The hammer burst is something that is a negative for me that I don't like. and I haven't liked it since Gears of War 2. So that's on that weapon. Breach Shot is the other weapon that I played with. It was a pickup on both maps that I played, Gondola and Library. And you know, I talked with Quinn, and I felt like the weapon was, I felt like it could replace the sniper. I felt like if there's a breach shot in game, there's no reason to have a sniper. And maybe that's because I haven't seen all the maps. Maybe there's like this super long range map where the breach shot is kind of null, but it's a one-shot headshot, and it's a 3-shot to the body. I think the snipers are going to be a 2-shot to the body, and obviously it's a 1-shot headshot, and the sniper has more range. But just from the maps, the 2 maps that I played, the better choice, there was a sniper on both maps. The better choice to me on in most situations was the breach shots. It wasn't super difficult to aim. I didn't have anyone like wall bouncing like crazy when I played, when I actually had it out. But I mean, it's moderately difficult to use. So, you know, it's not going to be for everyone, but I think most people that play with a sniper can pick up the breach shot and dominate with it. So we'll see. Again, I'm on the fence about the breach shot. Boom shot does not have 7 shots. I don't know why anyone thought it had 7 shots based off of that video. Maybe it's because I work in the industry, so I know. But I was told that when the first free-for-all video, you know, came out and someone saw that there were 7 shots in the boom shot, that was actually because the QA team for Epic was testing like their own demo video, and they had like stuff unlocked. So the boom shot has 3 shots, just like Gears of War 3. Don't worry. All right, it felt the same. I picked it up, dominated with it for a little while. It seems like it's changed the respawn timing. It's not 30 seconds after pickup, or after use. I'm sorry, it's now after pickup. So it's I believe it was like 2 minutes when I use it. So I really like that, because, you know, people would spam the boom shot and like go nuts with it, and that's how people would win. You know, they lock down boom shot control. So I think that it's longer. I always like after pickup. It makes sense. The competitive community kind of embraced after pickup versus after use. So that kind of makes sense, because when it's after use, you know, only the person that's using the weapon knows when it's going to pop back up after that 30-second timer hits. So this is definitely a good change. The Vulcan, also a weapon I use, 1-man gun now in Gears of War Judgment. The mobility on it is super slow. I was told that could be under review. I don't know. We'll see. But super slow. One of the things that I noticed that you could not do with it is wall bounce like you could with like a heavy weapon like the Mulcher. So wall bouncing with the Vulcan is not possible currently. Maybe it will be in the future. But it's pretty lethal. But you got to be like still. You cannot take cover with it, I don't think. But I can't remember trying to take cover with it. Yeah, I couldn't wall bounce, so you can't take cover with it. You could just stand up and shoot it. So really weird on the Vulcan right now. The other thing that is under review is the mantle kick. Obviously, it's under review because of the consistency. They noticed it, Epic has noticed it, and obviously the community has noticed how inconsistent it is in Gears of War 3. But it was possible to do in Judgment. I didn't personally do it, and I saw some people mantle kicked. But it's good that they're thinking about like taking it out or keeping it. Obviously, I think if they keep it, they're going to fix it, hopefully. Because it's super inconsistent on Gears of War 3, and I don't want that to be like a ported feature or ported mechanic that doesn't quite work all the way in Judgment. So that's currently under review, which is good, and you know, obviously I think it'll be interesting. Now, here are the things that I think are really good for the hardcore competitive community. So I hope you guys are really listening to me when I say this. So in terms of things that I really love about Judgment that really put this over the top for me in the next Gears of War title: active reload boost, damage boost is gone. It's removed. The reason is because of consistency, and hopefully we see less people complaining about, you know, I hit this guy with 2 shots, I hit this guy with 3 shots, he turned around and 1-shot me. Did he have an active? He might have gotten an active, and then you got a 1-shot. So like, that's gone. So, you know, it's not going to be any more, well, hopefully there won't be any more of that, where, you know, you have a guy super hurt, he gets around a corner real quick, gets an active, pops you from like super far, gets an active down or something like that, and ends up winning a firefight because of the damage boost. So that's being removed. I think that really helps in consistency with the game. Wave respawn is removed. This is a major win for me. because of consistency. If you guys have played King of the Hill, if you've watched my channel, you know I love King of the Hill. I love me some King of the Hill. But one of the biggest things that I dislike with King of the Hill after playing it for so much is that we're on this wave respawn system that does not work at all. So, you know, sometimes you die and you can end up with a 17-second spawn. That means you die with like 1 second left, and as you die, it goes 1, 0, you miss the respawn, and you get 15 seconds added on before you can respawn again. That's a 17-second spawn. So, that same instance, you know, someone dies maybe at 3, 2, 1, and then they respawn on the 0, and you don't get to respawn on the 0, so it's a lot different. So I think that people will find that to be a better system for respawning, making it more dynamic. We'll see. I'm not sure. I actually love that it's removed. Stopping power, gone. Finito. Finished. I love that. I'm sorry. This might bring back my Gears of War like passion, like my wanting to play every single day, every single night, just because of stopping power. This is like a major win for me, stopping power being removed. The reason is because of consistency, and it also it heightens the skill gap. I feel like when stopping power was introduced in Gears of War 2, it lowered the skill gap. The reason being because of movement, like it limits your movement. Sure, you know, some people could say it makes you make smarter decisions. That's fine and dandy, but like if I'm wall bouncing at you and I'm clearly outmaneuvering your ability to shoot me and track me while I'm moving, there's obviously something going on if you're slowing me down, or you're getting assisted with your shots while someone is coming at you. So stopping power being removed is definitely a plus for me. You know, there's some people in the community that obviously like stopping power. I am not one of them. Again, I think it vastly improves the skill gap, because again, it does not help people when they're tracking you. It actually makes them have to aim at you all the way at the same consistent pace. It doesn't slow down the user or the person that's receiving it, so you can get assisted, you know, help, a benefit. So I'm really excited about that, and I think a lot of other people that, and specifically in the competitive community, are going to like that that's gone. Here's another thing that I really love. There's a faster rate at which you switch weapons. So if you have out a Nasher and you run out of shots or whatever, and you have someone like on the last little inch of their life, you switch out your weapons a lot faster. You can get that kill versus, you know, taking that time to do the animation. Sometimes you get updated in between, you know, switching weapons to your shotgun, versus, you know, just being able to switch right away. So that faster rate of which you switch weapons is really cool to me. It's going to help finish off people and hopefully make the game go a little bit faster. You also pick up weapons a little bit faster. Well, I should say a lot faster. So I don't know how that's going to affect snipers, but I personally like it. And I don't know if this affects the weapon slide, or, you know, the ability to kind of get on a weapon and while you're holding X to, you know, pick it up, kind of grab it away from where that weapon actually is. I don't know how that's going to affect that, but it's certainly going to be different. And, you know, the last thing that I think is really cool, don't know how it's going to work, is obviously the grenade tosses. And again, there's another part of the grenades that I'm going to get to that I also think it makes this even better. But the grenade tosses are overhand. If you manage to throw it overhand and then while it's in midair, it lands, it like direct impacts them, it sticks to their body, which is like awesome. That's like making it so that you have to kind of think about where people are going to like land, so you can get a grenade stick on them. And the reason that it's kind of good is because the grenades now have been kind of nerfed. Like the explosion radius, the damage of nades themselves were kind of ridiculous to me. Mostly because, not because of like when they landed on the ground, you couldn't get away, but more so because of like when it was tagged against the wall and it would explode, it would do like this huge, ginormous explosion radius, and it was just like you couldn't get away from it. And you know, they lowered the time and all that stuff, but you still couldn't get away with from it. So now you can no longer wall tag grenades. Players have to earn their kills with some grenades. I love that. I love that. Like, I was so tired of people cheesing the grenades. If you don't know that term, that just means using it cheaply you know, wall tag an area and huddle up and turtle. Like, that's not playing Gears. It's like, come on, dude, why are you trying to get nade tags and camp the top tower in Jacinto? Like, come on, that's not cool. It's not fun. No one wants to do that. And Blood Drive was another map where grenades wall tagging was like changing how the map was being played, making it campier, making it slower. I'm so glad that's gone. It was a dumb, stupid feature to be added. I'm sorry, it was one of the worst. I don't know how they didn't look at that and say, this is going to vastly affect multiplayer. So I'm so happy that's gone. And then the other fix that I'm happy about is that ink grenades no longer stun. So that was changed for consistency. Obviously, some people would be like in a roll to get out of a stun, an ink stun, or they think they would be out of the radius and they'd still get stunned. There were so many consistency things with the ink grenade that I think that people were kind of upset about it. So the fact that you no longer get ink stunned is pretty cool. Now it's just like a cloud, the ink cloud. You kind of take damage with it. So all in all, man, that's pretty much it on the changes that I have that I see from my list. And a lot of this stuff was confirmed by Epic, so it's pretty factual in terms of you know, having all the information and all that stuff. So I hope you guys were listening. If you need to go back, make sure you know, kind of rewind to some certain sections and just listen to it again. Now, in terms of speculation, I think that because wave respawns are going to be removed, I think King of the Hill is going to be a lot more dynamic in its respawns. I think that it's going to be a lot more consistent. I'm hoping that because of the dynamic spawn system that I hope free-for-all kind of solves with King of the Hill, is that the hills now become ordered instead of being random. You know, it would really suck if it was random and then the person that randomly respawns on a death happens to get into the hill and there's like a piece of cover there that he can like set up on and, you know, lancer you because he got that random respawn, versus having a hill that's ordered and you know where the next hill is going to be after, you know, your team secures that hill and then they move on to the next hill. Now, I don't know if King of the Hill is going to be a confirmed game type. I have been told that there are more maps or more game types than just Overrun and free-for-all. I haven't been told which ones, so again, all I can do is speculate. So King of the Hill, I think wave respawns being gone adds dynamic respawns, which I think is really good. Hopefully everyone is on like a 3 or 5 second respawn, and I think that hills will possibly be ordered now instead of random with the countdown timer, which is dumb to me. Not that the countdown timer is dumb, just that the hills being random is not very good for gameplay. Doesn't make great gameplay. I also think that because there's no down but not out, that execution in Warzone could, you know, be gone. I think they might disappear. And, you know, I don't know if this is going to be a good thing or bad thing for people. I don't know if people are going to be, you know, really upset or whatever, but it's definitely something to think about. You know, I've talked about a bomb game type before. To me, I've never really liked execution in Warzone from the standpoint of there's no objective. Like, the objective is the other person, so that makes the gameplay slower. And it makes it really campy, versus having a bomb game type where, okay, you're playing one life, your life is still very, very valuable to your team, but, you know, you have to plant a grenade or whatever, the light mass bomb, and that's how your team scores. You know, some people say that's like Counter-Strike. Fine, hey, whatever, you know, you can say Counter-Strike, you can say Call of Duty. I don't see why Gears of War doesn't have it when one life game types are so important, have been so important in the lifespan of the game. So it just makes sense to me. Other than that, I mean, there's not really too much else. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions, I will try to answer them. You know, I may have missed something. The confirmed maps, I guess, is something I didn't talk about. There's Gondola, Library, Rooftops, and Island. Rooftops and Island were in Overrun. Gondola and Library were in Free-for-all. And that's all. I mean, that's it. That's all I got. So again, if you have any questions, make sure to leave them down in the comment section. I will try to get to it. This is probably the most in-depth overview I've done on the game in a while, so I hope you guys enjoy it. And until next time, guys, I will catch you later. Peace.